Welcome to the Pineapple Perspective with your host, Troy Hooper. That's me. This is always sponsored by Pepper Lunch Restaurants, pepperlunchrestaurants.com. Put a /franchise on there if you're a multi-unit and or multi-brand franchisee looking for the next hot thing that's simple, easy, and highly profitable. Wink, wink. Today, another great show. Somebody I've known for a long time, probably almost 5 years. We have Hildee Isaacs of Hildee.com, by the way, on the show. Hi, Hildee. Welcome.
Hi, Troy.
Hildee and I have known each other digitally for a very long time, have gotten together once or twice in person. I know in Atlanta last year. Hildee's a specialist in all things promotional items, swag, as we call it. Hildee sells swag is what her tagline is. And we're going to get into that today and help brands and marketers and people trying to share their brand and identity on a global scale learn about this whole thing called swag and why it's important and the differences that are out there. So Hildee's an expert. We're going to get into that. But first, Hildee, as you know from seeing and hearing the show before, we always ask the same question of every guest at the outset of the conversation before we even really get to know you. Help us get to know Hildee by telling us, what does hospitality mean to you?
So I would say when it comes to hospitality, I go back when I was a little kid. And I remember one of my first things was every Sunday, my family, we would go for Chinese food. It was our tradition. And I would test the hospitality of the restaurant if they could keep up with my water glass. Because I drink a lot of water, always have, always will. But in Chinese restaurants, especially, it was all about the water. And I got to say, most of the time, the hospitality was on point. So between me drinking as much water as I needed and wanted and never having to ask, and my dad's rule of Chinese restaurants were if his forehead wasn't sweating, it wasn't good hospitality for him, and his forehead most of the time always sweat. But that's Chinese in New York, which is really one of the best places I think in the country to eat delicious Chinese food.
It is. So what you're saying is just a constant attention, right? Paying attention, being there, getting your needs fulfilled before you asked for it.
Absolutely.
Okay, I agree. I used to be a giant consumer of 7 Up or Sprite until a nutritionist told me it was gonna turn my bones to sponge. So I laid off because at one point, I think I was drinking 2 liters a day of clear soda back when I was in, teens, early 20s, and, I finally kicked that habit, but same answer, right? For me, it's water today. I basically only consume water, and it's the same sort of thing. That's one of the best tests. I also like to see a little bit of pre-bussing of the used dirty dishes and things, the appetizer plates gone before the entree comes, although that never happens anymore. But these sort of obvious signs of attention and paying attention and being there and sort of being felt without being seen. I love when I look down and my water's refilled. I didn't even notice the waiter or back server was even or busser was even at the table. I love that ability for us to be so connected and engaged in our conversation without noticing that. So good answer, Hildee. Okay, let's get into a little bit about who is Hildee. What is Hildee.com? We'll get into that about that at the end as far as pitching your business. But Hildee, where do you come from? Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into hospitality because you did have a stint in hospitality,
Yes, I
and
did.
that's translating into your business today.
Absolutely. So back in school, in elementary, junior high school, I always wanted to be a teacher. And my dad did the math and he said, nope, when you graduate college, there will be no teaching jobs. Find something else. So I did my research and I wanted to be an actress. And my acting teacher in high school said, you suck. Don't be an actress. Lovely positive reinforcement way back when. They don't do that anymore. So then I decided and went to NYU Film School and got my degree in film production. And I got 3 great jobs in the film industry in New York City. I lived in New York City. I thrived in New York City. But each time the boss, before Anita Hill, and it was the whole Harvey Weinstein thing. So when I was told either you perform sexually or you're fired, I left the industry, never looked back. But I do say that my creative juices are from my NYU college degree. I tried the garment center, but I was always waitressing, bartending, hostessing in restaurants, and I loved it. And being raised by my mom was not the best cook. I had to kind of figure out how to cook on my own and with my grandmother's help a little bit. So when I finally left New York and came to Atlanta, I started selling soup sandwiches and salads out of my car in areas in the city where people couldn't leave their desks. So whether it was hairdressers or people who did the stock market, I would sell out of baskets, and the business was called Secret Garden Gourmet. I opened up Secret Garden Gourmet. It lasted 9 months because this was 25 years ago, and, I've always been the health food fanatic, and 25 years ago, no one in Atlanta knew even what that meant. They wanted their steak and potatoes, so I lasted 9 months. I lost $100,000, but the chick who sold me my embroidered aprons, which I still have today that say Secret Garden Gourmet on them, she said, "Come, I'll teach you the promotional products, AKA swag business." So she taught me the business. I'm very good at it and I've never looked back. And I feel like all these things that happened to me became what I do now, and I love the freedom that I can go anywhere I want in the world and still be in touch with my clients through Wi-Fi and a computer and sell anywhere. So I feel like while it was a lot of hard lessons, I'm happy where I am today. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my whole life.
23 years of swinging swag, slinging swag. Well, that's hard to say. That's a long haul. That means you've seen a lot, done a lot, touched a lot. Let's get into that a little bit. So we know each other from well before I was a customer. So full disclosure, the shirt I'm wearing and many, if not all, the things that say pepper lunch on them in the physical world come from Hildee. But that aside, it really comes down to service and attention and personal, sort of that concierge touch. Hildee, when we think about promotional items, swag, so to speak, tell us a little bit about what that means. I don't know if everybody really understands what we're talking about outside of sort of shirts, pens, and paperweights, right? Or maybe stress balls.
Right. So when it comes to, and there's a million names for it. Some people say tchotchkes, some people call it cheap plastic shit, some people call ad specialties or promotional products or merch or branded merch. I like to say swag because I just like how it goes off the tongue. And truth be known, swag stands for stuff we all get.
Huh.
So a lot of people didn't know that, or you can say shit we all get, whatever, but that's what it is. And I can say that it can be something as big as when you see a car that's been branded all around. Yeah, there's definitely a specialist in that, but that's considered a promotional product. Down to I have sold Movado watches, which I beg them not to brand the face, but just laser engrave on the back because everybody's going to remember who gave them that gorgeous watch. You don't have to put a logo on a Movado and make it less than. So sometimes I'll tell people you don't have to brand things in order for them to be a promotional product. A promotional product either pulls at the heartstrings or the memory strings, or it's just, what was that company that I wanted to get a franchise from? What was there? Oh, here it is. It's on this pen. Now I remember what it is. So in each situation, it's what's going to stay on someone's memory or their desk or their car or their kitchen. It just everything depends.
Yeah, that's something you've always talked a lot about is the utility of an item. The If the item has a utility or usefulness over a long period, then it will likely stay in sight or in reach or in use. And every time they have the use, that's an opportunity for the brand to be seen again. Talk a little bit about that importance and give us some examples of some items or things that you tend to encourage your clients to give out so that that utility lasts and that brand gets seen over and over again.
So it definitely requires some time invested, whether it's me and you, Troy, or it could be a client who does construction. We got to talk about, do you have a project coming up or an event coming up? And if so, What are the priorities? What's the budget? What's the amount of people and the quantity needed? These days, a lot of my clients are reaching out to me freaking out. Are these things that I order every year about to sell out? And then we're going to have to either wait for a cargo ship another year, or the price is going to double or triple. So I'm getting a lot of those calls. And I'm not the scare tactic person, so when people have the conversation, I'll immediately look and say, "Oh, there's 50,000 in stock. I think you're okay." Or there's under 1,000 in stock, and I don't know how many other Hildees there are looking at the same exact item with the scare tactic saying, "You know what? If I were you, I would buy for the next 12 months." And that way you don't have to worry about what might happen in the US or in the world in the next few months. It's very complicated right now. Like, how do you take care of the client without scaring them and make sure that they get a price that's, if not identical, at least comparable to what they paid in the last 12 months? It's
Well, let me
tough.
give some examples before I ask my next question of why anybody listening should really think closely about working with somebody who understands what's going on in this space and can encourage and source the right items. Uh, 3 days ago, I got a text on my phone, and a very, very powerful man in the restaurant industry who I'm close with and have done a lot of projects with, worked closely with on our pickleball event, sent me a picture of his son wearing the socks, the pepper lunch socks, and the headband and the wristband, and said that his son demanded on Saturday that whatever they were going to do as a family, they were going on an outing, that he demanded he be allowed to wear this outfit. And I love the fact that he looks like Hulk Hogan, basically. I'll send you the picture. He looks like a miniature Hulk Hogan with all this red and yellow on. But, that's an example. I've talked to several people at the pickleball event this year who says, I still have my pickleball from last year that you guys gave me with your logo and QR code on it. I had somebody tell me exactly what I told them they should do is this is a great toy for your cat or your dog. Give it to them. And they're like, yeah, my cat loves his pepper lunch pickleball. So, we get paddles and cooling towels and all kinds of functional things that people can use over and over again. And I think that that has proven itself in our circumstance where we started giving out this stuff last year at a couple of conferences. We went big this year with a large event and gave it out. And people really appreciate quality. Hildy, talk a little bit about the difference between cheap shit, to use your language and mine both, and quality product that sort of denotes the value of when you're giving something away. You're trying to express value in that person, right?
Well, if anybody's watching this and has the attention to detail, notice Troy's polo. It is not wrinkled. The collar is not curled. The logo you can read. Why? Because I insisted we not embroider. Had we embroidered it, you couldn't see it as crisp. And occasionally, when Troy moves a little bit, you can see there's a little bit of a logo on the sleeve, which really kicks it up a notch because that's a great tagline. And again, had it been embroidered, it would have had to have been twice the size, which we do on backpacks, and it looks great, but it needs to be big. So it's really important. Here we go. We're going to see the backpack because the backpack embroidery is gorgeous, but it's twice the size of a left chest,
The new
which
ones are just come in.
beautiful. Like,
Look how
that
bright and
pops and you
shiny.
can see it, and it's shiny, and it's the colors, right? I wouldn't have done the red and the yellow on this gorgeous polo shirt, and you don't always have to do the red and the yellow, especially when you're trying to be professional and crisp. And I love the fact that Pepper Lunch is okay switching out the colors of the polos. But again, a lot of people are like, "Just what's cheap?" Or they'll say, "I don't care." And if you go on a website like a 4imprint and you're blind and you don't have an expert like me, and again, I'm not the only expert, but I highly recommend wherever you are, if you've got a best friend or a neighbor who's doing it, just make sure that they understand the difference between a not, this is called a fabric collar, as opposed to that ribbed that we did in college, that hopefully we're all older and more experienced. So it's something as simple as that. Or it's my favorite lip balm. Now, this is like a $1 item. So why this as opposed to the 10,000 that others? This one's oval. You know what that means? It's not gonna roll off the table like all the chapsticks that everybody else is giving away. So something as simple as that, and that the whole thing is full color label all around, gives you great return on the money. And this is a lip butter, so sometimes chapstick can be a little bit tacky or dry. This is creamy and it's considered masculine because you do a vanilla flavor, which doesn't offend anybody, but you can put such clever messaging on it. And if you just do something clever, right? You could do a note bag. When people come to me and they say, "What's new?" I'm like, let's not do what's new. Let's come up with something that's tried and true with a clever tagline and sizzle your way. We could have so much fun with just that tagline. For me, because I knew these were oval, I had Geiger come up with logo that says oval and out. Dry lips don't stand a chance, Hildee.com. And I give these away like a business card. And that's what I like people to think about. You don't have to spend a lot of money to get a bang for the buck, whether it's a tagline or something really useful. Yeah, look, after 6 months or a year, this is going to be thrown in recycle because it is plastic and it will finally go away. But for that 6 months, if people are putting it on every day, think about the memory retention.
Hildy, let's talk about sort of elevated gifts or these customized packages. So, you go on TikTok or Instagram and you'll see an influencer receive a brand gift. They're the grand unboxing from Oreo or Cheetos or Dunkin' Donuts. And they, of course, have a bag or a box or a basket full of stuff. But often these are like highly produced boxes that every panel has a message and a statement and a color and a logo and an icon, and then you open it and these things are sort of custom fit into specific cutouts. Like this is a pretty highly curated product. I want people to understand that that's something that anybody can do, that any brand can do. Yes, there's minimum orders for custom printed boxes and these things, but talk a little bit about sort of that elevated brand experience gift. Maybe it's a very important client, you want trying to get a client, you have a very important investor meeting, you want to really give a great impression and a fantastic thank you or reminder. Talk a little bit about what somebody like yourself can do to curate that for a brand.
So you can start in as little as a custom, fully branded box that is big enough to hold a piece of drinkware. And that's out of cardboard, but it's good quality cardboard, but earth friendly cardboard. But it's not going to have the cutouts. But if you're trying to do, let's say, a budget, that's how you start. But I can go all the way up to a custom wooden box or an acrylic box or a box like an advent calendar. The problem is people don't understand the amount of time needed. For a project like that, you need 6 months. Why? Well, the first thing I do is I would decide what items you want to order. And the odds are some things are going to come from overseas and then maybe 5 to 10 different vendors from all over the United States. So, and each one has a different minimum. So let's just say you wanted a budget and I'm not gonna lie, let's say a decent quality box is gonna cost the end user about $200 plus shipping. Why? Because let's say we order a Yeti tumbler and we order a Cutter and Buck polo and we order 5 other, right, they're coming from all different places. So we gotta hit the minimums, we gotta get them artwork, they've gotta send proofs, then they have to ship everything. Well, where are they gonna ship it to? Somebody's gotta be able to put the box together, and I have vendors who do it, but ideally, let's say we only wanted to do 20 boxes or 50 boxes. I always say, "Let it come to my office or let it come t just for the example, to Troy's office." That way, you're in control of everything when you want it to ship, as opposed to if we use my vendors, they're gonna want everything to come in, they're gonna box it, or we call it kitting it, and then ship it out all at once. But not everybody wants to do that. Some people wanna do it in increments. So it's best that either I'm controlling it or my client is controlling it. So everything takes the time, it arrives. Once you have everything, that's when you then order the box, because if you order the box first and not everything fits how you want it, and do you want to do cutouts? Do you want to do advent? It is a very complicated and long process. Once you have it up and running and you want to reorder, fine, you'll know what you're doing. But the very first time, you have no idea, it's going blind. So that's why people are like, well, what size box do I get? I don't know. What do you want to put in the box? So, and how much do you want to spend on the box? And is the goal that the box then sits on a shelf somewhere, or is it just thrown away? And therefore, how much do you want to spend on that box? I did just recently do, and I think I showed it on one of our videos with Sean. I had a client who did a Woodford Reserve bourbon that was hand painted and laser etched on the backside of the bottle. And it came in a crate with two laser etched whiskey glasses. Gorgeous gift. I think it was $250 a box plus shipping. Anybody who gets it is gonna love it, unless you don't drink alcohol, then I would hope that my client knows who to send it to and who not to. But it can be something as simple as that, or like I said, from 10 different vendors all coming in to one place and then boxing it and shipping it one at a time where you need it. Did I answer that?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's very great insight and advice. Hildy, what would you say a hospitality brand? Most of the people listening to this are restaurant executives, restaurant owners, people in the restaurant technology industry, etc. What's on the, let's call it the trend line now? What's hot right now? What's standing out? I know the last couple of years socks have been the thing. I think we have the best socks going out the door. They're beautiful, they're comfortable, they're soft, they're bright as all get out. You can see them coming from miles away. But what's after socks? I know, I talked about Yetis and you're like, no, no, Yetis are out, and then it was Stanley and Stanley's out. And so this sort of trend line tends to change.
Right.
What's hot? What are we looking forward to? What's coming down the line if restaurant tours and brands want to start getting some stuff and putting it together for people? What should we be thinking about?
So I still say socks, but not the socks that everybody else is giving away, right? So because I try my best to spoil my clients, I had the best sock vendor in my industry create some free samples and sent them to you because you thought you knew what you wanted until you got the samples and you tried them out. And
Night and
I'm
day.
telling
It was F and A. It was 0 and 100. There was the nylon stretchy, the everything got distorted and washed out, and then there was what we ended up getting, which is just absolutely gorgeous and comfortable, and I wear them to work. I wear them under my jeans. Whether people see them or not, I wear them.
because they make you feel good and they're good quality. So I would urge anybody who's listening, whoever you're using, they should be able to hook you up with some free samples so you can understand what Troy's talking about. It's really important. But after, so not the cheap socks. If people are going to be willing to spend on socks, the socks that you picked 99, like a 10 out of 10 perfect. After that, I would say 2025 is definitely the year of Owala, Owalla. It's making Stanley and Yeti look like your great grandpa. Seriously. Why? Because they have patented a lid that when you pop it open, you can just move your lips to either make it a straw or a sipper. Simple. And they've got a 24-ounce and a 32-ounce. Dishwasher safe. I think they're okay. I think for that price, there are other brands out there that are doing better things, meaning they have a give back component, which Awala doesn't. Pelican is one of them. Very, very similar, really good quality, but they're giving back. And so is Corksicle does, and I believe Mir, Miir. But it just depends. I mean, the trend is now being ceramic lined double wall stainless. So it still keeps it cool, but instead of it being metal on the inside, it's ceramic. A bet really good quality ceramic, not the type that if you drop, it'll break. And therefore, you're not having that metal potential taste. So that's really popular. And silicone. Oh my God, Silly Pints has now come out with water bottles as well as the 16-ounce tumblers we've all seen. And now they've got the handle ones, but I like the idea of Silly Pint because when you're not using it, it folds up and it's soft and it'll it just goes in your suitcase easy. I'm leaving Monday for Aruba for my national sales incentive trip that I got for free. I'll be bringing a silly pint with me, and I'll definitely make some
Perfect
videos.
for the beach and the pool, right?
Right? Well, yes and no. I
Glasses.
mean, it's not gonna keep things cold as long as a double walled, but it is going to be lightweight and unbreakable.
Hildy, what are some things to stay away from? I know when we chat on these types of things, you're very opinionated, you're very strong because you're trying to protect me, you're trying to protect my brand. You're trying to say, "Please don't do this, don't do that." What are the things that are pretty common when people think of, "Oh, I just need to get 200 pieces of the cheapest thing I can find," and connect that to sort of the, everybody else is doing it too. Like, just why do you wanna be like everybody else and give out cheap shit? Talk a little bit about why you don't let your clients, make these mistakes.
I beg people not to give away gift cards because it doesn't have any heartstrings. It doesn't have any memory strings. People are going to use it and it's gone forever. If you're going to give a gift card, either have it be branded, which still it's disposable, but maybe give it in something that people will keep, whether it's an RFID protective wallet or an RFID, just those paper things that sometimes the banks give away, which they're getting from me. So that's okay. I do my best to say don't give away food gifts unless there's a keep component. So there's a vendor of mine called Cheese Brothers out of Wisconsin. And every time people order cheese, they even have a cheese advent calendar. There's a bamboo cutting board that goes with it. Okay, so after the cheese has been eaten, at least they have the cutting board. And I feel that if it's like for me, for pepper steak, when first of all, when are you coming to Georgia? Like it's enough already. I'm missing my pepper steak.
Working on it, and nothing yet planned, working on it, I promise.
All right. I mean, I did meet somebody recently, although
We might
his
be in New York, though. Do you still have family in New York? You still go
I
back up
do,
there?
I do, I do.
Okay,
I
so
don't
we
have
might be in New
plans for
York
New York
before
yet.
Atlanta.
But Naples, I might be going to Naples soon, and you have somewhere there, right?
We're in Pinellas Park, St. Petersburg, Florida. Yep,
Okay, so I will definitely go because I'm missing. I mean, the food is just so delicious. I know I'm not supposed to be promoting pepper
that's okay.
lunch, but it's so good. Okay. Anyway, so for pepper lunch, I would say don't give away a little stress ball because it's bright yellow or bright red because people either they have them or they hate them. There are quality stress balls that maybe cost $3 that have the gel inside. Okay, so then maybe I'm gonna bounce it, I'm gonna toss it to my kid, I might toss it to the dog, but the regular ones, it's just a waste of money. So I do my very best to say and then pens. There are pens out there that don't even last the ink dries up in less than a year. So again, working with a Hildee, I'm gonna make sure that the shelf life is at least 1 year. Most of my pens, I have friends that took them 5, 10 years ago, and they're still using them. There's no guarantee of that, but I do try my best to do a quality pen.
Duckhorn Wines, and that's the pen I use today is a nice, clicky, grippy from Duckhorn Wines.
Maybe you need to introduce me to Duckhorn wines.
Indeed. Well, that's all good advice, Hildy. I appreciate that. I think it's important. What's the difference between going online and ordering from For Print, Printful, Vistaprint, and calling somebody like Hildy and getting the level of service and insights and experience that you give us?
Is your job to buy promotional products?
No,
Is that
definitely
your
not.
job?
Yeah,
No. Don't you wanna spend as little time as possible doing that?
sure.
Right. So if you go on any of the competitors' websites, they're going to promote and you're gonna see it, "Oh, yeah, that's what I want." You're gonna click on it. If you get a human being, even if it's the instant messaging, they're minimum wage employees. They're not people who test, try, have relationships. So if you buy the widget based on their website and something bad happens, good luck. With me, when something bad happens, I only work with vendors that I know will stand behind their product, whether it means a discount or a redo or a full refund, whatever it is. So that's important. The education is important. So once you find your Hildee, and hopefully it's me, but again, I can't service everybody, and I don't want to service everybody. My niche is more like 25 employees or more, or $1,000 an order and up most of the time. I will give free advice to anybody all the time because it doesn't cost me anything. But ultimately, if you go to just a website and order it, you're taking more time than you should, and you don't even know if you're getting anything good. So I would just beg people, you go to the favorite restaurant because you know the server. You go to this your favorite you go to Costco because you know exactly what to get there. So why wouldn't you do it if you're spending money putting your name on something, where the worst thing would be if you buy an umbrella that says pepper lunch and then somebody is using it and it breaks and they get soaking wet, they're going to call you and blame you for the quality of the umbrella. So to me, it's just an obvious thing that most people don't think about.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you an example. The first time we ordered pickleballs, Hildee had a sample of the pickleballs sent to her, as well as had the order sent to me. And before it hit my door, matter of fact, the morning before the afternoon, the first box hit my door, she called me and said, "Before you open that box and freak out, I've already fixed the problem." Because it was the first time, or our logo was the first time, and it just wasn't as legible. It was a little smudgy. It was very faded. It didn't like come through bright and pop. And so she said, "Not good enough. Send those balls back. I'm going to send you a pickup tag, and we're already reproducing them, and they'll be in your door in 72 hours, and they'll be there in time for your event. Don't freak out." And Hildy has redirected shipments to venues where the event was. You have somebody actually looking over and paying attention and caring about the end result. Because you're right. If I had gotten 300 pickleballs that look like, or some portion of them look like crap, and I had gotten it from some company online that I had no relationship and no, I don't even know how that would have, and of course, lead times can be weeks. Not Hildy can call the person and say, "Hey, I know your lead time might be 2 weeks on this item, but we've got a problem. We got to get these out." And he's got an event in 4 days. We've got to get these done. And then they're there. And I had no stress. I knew you had it taken care of. And so I think that is the key difference, that white glove concierge level service that we get in hospitality and we also can get in swag. Hildy, tell us how people can find you, connect with you, learn from you, and obviously get taken care of by you.
The easiest is just go into any search engine and do the hashtag Hildy Swag. I have over 500 videos. It's great education and they're entertaining. But if you don't have the bandwidth and you just want to be a Troy who's like, here's the date, here's the budget, here's what I need, just do your thing. That's my favorite because then I know people are going to be happy because I'm the boss of what I do. I stay in my lane, but I'm the boss of what I do. Or you can go on Hildee.com. My website is like shopping Amazon. You can even create an account. I bet you didn't know this, Troy. If you create an account in Hildee.com, you can see if your proof has been approved, if it's shipped, if there's tracking, if the invoices, everything once you've created your own login that matches every email we ever send you. Most people don't know. And again, I spoil them so bad, they don't even feel like they need it.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I get those updates. I get the invoices. I get the packing list. I get the tracking. I get Hildy saying it's arrived. What do I need to log in for? But
Yeah,
actually, I like that because my assistant actually it would less back and forth. We can
sometimes,
monitor ourselves. I
yeah,
appreciate that.
and I
Good
don't
tip.
I don't mind it. And yeah, even if you just go on Hildee.com in the top right corner, it's got my phone number, it's got my email address. If anybody wanted to come kill me, I'm serious, you can put, I think, Hildee.com into Waze, and it takes you straight to my house. I'm in trouble. There is nothing that is hidden about me. Fortunately, for the last 3 or 4 years, everything I keep is pretty G-rated online, so I can't be offending anybody. But yeah, I'm in danger when it comes to privacy.
And there's at least one TikTok video of Troy introducing Hildy Cell swag.
At least one.
At least one. Yeah, we love those videos. That you're right, actually very educational, inspirational, like, "Oh, that's something I didn't think of." There's some cool different stuff on there. So, definitely a good way to kinda get ideas and learn about, what Hildy's out there, sharing. Hildy, thank you so much for bringing us great information, sharing with this audience important details of, how to think about promotional products, swag, and giveaways, merch, even branded. Like, we wear these as our this is our uniform, right? We This is our corporate executive uniforms that we get from you as well. So all good stuff. Really appreciate you coming on the Pineapple Perspective, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you for listening to the Pineapple Perspective. If you loved today's episode, leave a review and a 5-star rating. I look forward to welcoming you back next time.